Hello everyone, today we are going to review other two tenses such as the past perfect tense and past perfect continuous. Okay, so please listen to me carefully, and I hope that this video will be very useful for you and you will get to know something new from that material. So we will start out with the past perfect tense. As you see, the past perfect tense is one of the tenses that we can use, for instance, when the action is completed and the action is completed before something else happened in the past. Okay, so basically past perfect, the action completed in the past before some other action. So for instance, when we arrived, the film had started. Yeah, so basically it means first the film started, then later we arrived. So when we arrived, the film had started. Okay. Now I want you just to take a look on some examples here. So we just start out with a positive form of it. For instance, I had been. So I had been. This is affirmative form of sentence. So we just affirm something. I had been. You can also shorten the form and say I'd been. You had gone or you'd gone. She had met or she'd met. He had played or he'd played. It had rained or it rained. We had bought or we bought. They had studied, so they'd studied. And now I also want you not to confuse the things like the auxiliary verb had with a would, because if we just shorten the form, obviously we can confuse about that. And so, yeah, you just have to go into the meaning. Yeah, you have to go mindfully about the meaning and understand what it means. So basically, it just depends on the context that you have in the sentence. So for instance, would is followed by infinitive. Yeah, so I would go to the park tomorrow. But it can be written, I'd go to the park tomorrow. And here we have had. So had is usually followed by participle, by past participle. For instance, I'd gone, I'd gone. Now let's check out the negative form. I had not been, or we can say I hadn't been. You had not gone, or we can say you hadn't gone. She had not met, or we can also shorten the form and say she hadn't met. Yeah, he had not played, or we can also say he hadn't played. It had not rained, or we can also say it hadn't rained. Yeah, we had not bought, or we can also say we hadn't bought. They had not studied, they hadn't studied. And now, if we're just going to make some questions, all you have to understand is that on the first position, we have the auxiliary verb or the helping verb had. Then it is followed by subject or pronoun, and then just third form of irregular verb or regular verb et as the ending, right? So now let's just check out these things here, the sentences, the questions. Had I come, had I come. So as you know, come, it's a irregular verb. That's why we have three forms. So come, came, come. Had I come, had you eaten, had she gone, had it rained, had he started, had we met, had they left, leave, left, left, meet, met, met, study. So study is, for instance, is a normal verb. So it's just a regular verb, let's say, and that's why we just put et as an ending. We change y, we add I, and just put et as an ending. And then had it rain. So this is also a regular verb. That's why we just put ed as an ending. Go, go, went, gone. This is a regular verb. Eat, ate, eaten. So just put the third form as well. Had he eaten? So we have the question with at the beginning. Yeah, when had I come? Why had you eaten? Where had she gone? When had it rained? Why had he started? How had we met? When had they left? As you see, this question words are standing in the beginning, and then it just followed by actually what had. Then it just followed by pronoun. And the third form of irregular verb or regular or just regular verb, easy as the ending. Now, let's check out also the next scene. Okay, so I want you to check the sentences. For instance, I had eaten dinner, so I wasn't hungry. As you see, here we have the action that was completed before that someone actually could get hungry. Yeah, so I had eaten dinner, so I wasn't hungry. I was not hungry because I actually had eaten dinner before. Or it had snowed in the night, so the bus didn't arrive. So as you see, it just looks like a consequence, yeah? So just due to the fact that it snowed in the night, the bus didn't arrive. But the bus didn't arrive after the fact that it had snowed in the night. For instance, the next sentence that we have, when we graduated, he had been in London for 6 years. So here, as you see, when he graduated, this is the next action, and before he had been in London for 6 years. So the fact is that he arrived in London 6 years before he graduated and lived there continuously until he graduated, or even longer. And then I also want you to get to know more about third conditional. So we can combine these things with use of would. So we use would when we want to just express our desire regarding something. If I had known you were ill, I would have visited you. If I had known, as you see, this is a past perfect tense. If I had known you were ill, I would have visited you. So we just not say, if I had known you were ill, I would visit you. We say it differently. We just put the same form of have there. Yeah, so if I had known you were ill, I would have visited you. Okay, and now we're switching to the past perfect continuous tense. So I just want you to know that the construction of past perfect continuous is very interesting. So basically, just use subject, had been, infinitive form of verb with the English ending. Now, let's check out the affirmative form of sentences. For instance, I had been living, you had been going, she had been sleeping, he had been working, it had been raining, we had been studying, they had been cooking. So, by the way, I want you to be mindful about the use of it because sometimes some students just really confuse D, a final D, when they see the form written in the text. They can confuse it with would, and that's true. So for instance, they had been studying something. Yeah, you should not confuse that with would. So with would, it would look completely different. So I would go for it. I would do that. I would have studied that. Yeah, I would have studied something, but not I would have been, because it doesn't make a sense. So I had been studying, right? Now, so let's check out the negative form. I had not been trying, or you can also say, I hadn't been trying. You had not been working, or you can also say you hadn't been working. She had not been crying, or you just can shorten the form and it would look like she hadn't been crying. He had not been shopping, or we can also say he hadn't been shopping. It had not been snowing, or we can shorten the form and it would look like then such as the same as it hadn't been snowing, yeah? Or he hadn't been shopping. We had not been reading, we hadn't been reading. We had not been running, they hadn't been running. And also the questions that we have on here, had I been working? Had you been sleeping? Had she been reading? Had he been watching TV? Had it been raining? Had we been drinking? Had they been eating, etc. And the questions with question words here. So where had I been working? How long had you been sleeping? What had she been reading? How long had been watching TV? How long had it been raining? What had we been drinking? Why had they been eating? So let's just check out also the adverbs that we can use here. For, yeah, for or since. So these are the main basic adverbs that you can apply for past perfect continuous tense. So this tells us, for instance, how long something had continued before another event in the past. She had been working at the company for a year when she met James. Then it can also describe the thing, for instance, the cause of something in the past. So the pavement was wet, it had been raining. So it just describes the reason why the pavement was wet. So it was raining before the time I'm describing it in the past, so we could see the result of the rain. So the pavement was wet because it had been raining before. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Please put the thumbs up and see you next time. Bye-bye.